The 100-Year Curse, Anatomy of Call Trigori. Okay, picture this. You walk into a secluded, gorgeous mansion expecting a peaceful getaway, right? But instead, you stumble right into a scene straight out of your absolute worst nightmares. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are breaking down a truly horrifying timeline, some very strict ancient rules, and a dark energy that literally only wakes up once every 100 years. Let's get into it. So, when the local police finally arrived, after hours of these terrifying screams just echoing from the Haveli, they found the doors wide open. And down in the cold, pitch-black basement, they made a gruesome discovery. The bodies of two writers, Rihan and Neha, lying there, completely lifeless. Now, upstairs on a study table, there was a diary. A frantic, chilling diary detailing their final days. But the most terrifying detail? Smeared across the walls of this beautiful home in giant blood-red letters were two words: Call Trigori. No murder weapon, no suspect, just that diary and a blood-soaked warning. So what actually happened here?
Part 1. Triggering a Century Curse.
Okay, to understand what went down in that basement, we have to look at the specific mechanics of why this particular curse actually wakes up. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill random paranormal activity. No, it's a highly specific cyclical event, and it's totally driven by time and celestial movements. According to those desperate scribbles in Rehan's diary, he actually consulted a local pundit, a priest who really knows his occult stuff. And this pundit revealed a terrifying astronomical alignment. The trigger for this curse actually relies on three specific lunar phases: Chaitra Amavasya, Chaitra Purnima, and Baisakhi Amavasya. Now, normally, these phases are scattered all over the calendar, but once every 100 years, they converge perfectly within a single month of April. So why does this matter? Well, this exact gravitational and celestial alignment literally thins the veil between our world and the next. It acts like this cosmic lock-in key, channeling this immense dark energy that awakens an entity known as Kal Trigori. Basically, for those 30 days, April becomes the single most dangerous month of the century. To put that danger into perspective, the pundit explained to Rihan that exactly a century ago, during this precise lunar alignment, a practitioner of dark magic actually intentionally triggered the curse. The result? 500 people, an entire village was just wiped off the map in a single night. And the people who didn't die immediately, they were ravaged by bizarre, completely untreatable diseases that ended up destroying neighboring towns too. The energy released during this month isn't just bad luck, it is absolute, localized annihilation. Part 2. The Red Cloth Rule. So Rehan and Neha didn't just walk into a cursed house. They inadvertently pulled the pin on a supernatural grenade. Here is how it happened. Rehan had been hearing this rocking chair moving totally on its own down in the basement. When he went to investigate, he found this massive, ancient trunk. He breaks the rusted lock, and boom, he is hit with this blast of freezing air. Inside, he finds a horrifying doll, pitch-black body, pure white eyes just staring up at him. And right next to it, a torn, ancient book. Now, this book provided some very clear, explicit rules. It named the entity Trigori. It gave a crucial warning: do not touch. It turns out the doll acts like a magnet for dark spirits. But most importantly, the book laid out the ultimate failsafe. The doll must only ever be handled using the protective red cloth it was wrapped in. But, driven by curiosity, Rehan peeled that red cloth back. And by breaking that one seemingly simple rule, everything violently shifted. Rihan and Neha had just wanted a quiet, incredibly cheap Haveli in Maharashtra to write in peace. They wanted to leave the crazy hustle of Mumbai behind, but man, the second that red cloth was removed, the Haveli turned into a literal living nightmare. Rihan was tormented all night by these agonizing screams of unseen people just calling out his name. Ghostly, terrifying faces started flashing in the dark corners of the house. At one point, all the lights in his study wildly flickered, and then every single bulb exploded simultaneously. And if that wasn't enough, they then found a brutally killed black cat right outside their door. And tragically, through all of this, Neha didn't believe a word of it. Part 3. A Fatal Exorcism. Driven pretty much entirely mad by this escalating horror, Rihan brought in that local pundit to try and fix his catastrophic mistake. The pundit agreed to help, but he showed up with an arsenal of some deeply unsettling items for a cleansing ritual. We're talking protective black cats, human skulls, the remains of dead animals, the whole shebang. And his methodology was incredibly strict because he knew exactly what the stakes were. Step 1, he used the red cloth, and only the red cloth, to extract the doll from the trunk.
He absolutely refused to let his skin make contact with it. Step 2, he placed it perfectly in the center of his macabre ritual space. And step 3, he immediately started chanting ancient mantras to pacify the awakened Kaltragori entity. The pundit was following the rules of survival to the absolute letter. But here's the thing. You can't just easily put a 100-year curse back to sleep. As the pundit was chanting, Rihan was hit again with a sound of deafening, agonizing screams. And then, a massive 10-foot-long shadow physically detached itself from the wall and began slithering right toward them. As it moved, every remaining light bulb in the house just shattered. The dark energy in that room was so overwhelming that those 2 black cats the pundit brought for protection, they actually turned on each other, viciously tearing each other apart right in the middle of the room. And this right here is the moment everything was truly lost. Seeing the cats die and this giant shadow approaching, Neha completely panicked. Believing the doll was the source of the immediate threat, she rushed forward, grabbed the doll with her bare hands, completely bypassing the red cloth, and hurled it straight into the ritual fire. The pundit instantly started trembling. He looked at them and realized that by breaking the primary rule, by touching the physical vessel of the curse barehanded, Neha had just permanently attached the curse to her bloodline. Actually, scratch that. She doomed them all. There was absolutely no saving them now. So, terrified for his own life, the pundit abandoned the ritual and fled into the night.
Part 4. The legend comes alive. Now, the curse didn't just target the Haveli itself. The immediate death toll outside of it was staggering. Literally the very next morning, Neha woke up screaming. She had just received word that her parents' home had inexplicably caught fire overnight, and all 4 members of her family burned to death. Just a horrific tragedy. Shortly after that, news arrived that the pundit who had tried to help them, he was found in the forest, brutally murdered and mutilated. And as we already know from that gruesome crime scene at the beginning of our explainer, Rehan and Neha would be the final 2 victims. That brings the immediate body count to 7 in less than 24 hours. So how exactly did Rehan and Neha meet their end? Well, Rehan's diary details his final, horrifying moments. Desperate and completely broken, he decided to just burn the cursed trunk itself. But when he walked down into that basement, he found the black doll. It wasn't ashes. It was completely, miraculously restored, sitting right on top of the trunk, just staring at him. And right behind it stood Neha. But she wasn't herself. She was laughing like an absolute maniac, holding a hunting knife. And that terrifying 10-foot shadow was looming directly behind her, controlling her every single move as she charged at her husband. Now, here is where our explainer takes a really fascinating turn. If you've been on the edge of your seat tracking this horrific timeline, the rules of the red cloth, and this blood-soaked Haveli, well, you are exactly where the creators want you. Because this gripping breakdown of Indian folklore and true crime-style tragedy, it's actually the brilliant premise of the recently released Indian horror film called Trikori. The story of Rehan Neha and the 100-Year Curse is playing out on the big screen right now. And all these terrifying mechanics we've explored today, they are the exact puzzle pieces you'll watch the characters try to survive. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the anatomy of a curse, I want to leave you with this thought. We all like to think we'd make the rational choice in a scary situation, right? But if you found a rusted trunk in your basement and a 100-year dark energy awakened in your home during the deadly convergence of April, would you remember the red cloth? Would you know the rules to survive? Well, if you want to see exactly how this terrifying legend unfolds, you can go experience Kaltragori for yourself in theaters right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, stay curious.